The Out of Bounds Show podcast is brought to you by Boar's Head, premium meats, cheeses, and hummus. Boar's Head, compromise elsewhere.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the BankPlus Studio.
Is now awarded.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Low Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Woo! All right, what a night. What a night. Out of Bounds does it again. The Atlanta Braves, my Atlanta Braves, World Series champions. Love it, love it, love it. So cool. Want to welcome you in, say good morning. Hope you're doing well. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're powered by USA Pawn's Mega Store, I-55 South, McDowell Road. I am live here at USA Pawn's Mega Store. There are, I think, 50 televisions. I'm surrounded by about 50 TVs and 50 computers and I don't know how many guitars and all kinds of cool stuff. We're here for the next 3 hours, and we're going to celebrate 30 years in business. Mississippi entrepreneurs, 6 locations. Not your typical pawn store. You don't see... you do not see smart TVs, game systems, PS4s, all kinds of cool computers, and, Louis Vuitton handbags at most pawn stores. But they do it a different way, and they've got a great business and company. 30 years, 6 locations, USA Pawn, and we're live from the Mega Store. They'll be celebrating Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and all kinds of good stuff going on. In fact, we're going to give away a New York Giants football signed by Eli Manning today. I just took a picture of it. It's in a really nice case and mint condition. We'll tell you more about that and how you could win that. Is that a great Christmas gift for a big Ole Miss fan or New York Giants fan or Eli Manning fan? I would think so. 2-time Lombardi Trophy winner Eli Manning. We've got the football right here to my right. I've got Blake Mania, and is Will there? Blake?
Will is here.
All right, so Will is in the house. Blake, Scott, and Will are the pilots today. I guess Blake's the pilot, and Will's the co-pilot. And Blake may join me later, or he may just decide to hunker down in the sports think tank and hang out. So we're excited. Again, the show is brought to you by USA Pawn. The Atlanta Braves win the World Series, and they win it without 2 of their best players, including one of them by the name of Ronald Acuna, who Blake Scott called some of his games while he was with the Mississippi Braves and M-Braves. It's cool for several different reasons, and you're listening to Out of Bounds 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. The Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line today is 601-995-1059. That is the number that we built for years. And the Twitter handle at BowBounds. Thank you so much, Chris. And the Ag Up Equipment text line is 601-885-3776. I hadn't thought about this. Blake, I bet we've never texted the text line. We should do that just to do it.
I've texted the text line before.
Okay, cool. So the Ag Up Equipment, Mississippi Ag, right? Now, Ag Up Equipment. agup.com. Text line is 601-885-3776. And what a night for the Atlanta Braves. And let me share a story with you. Blake has stories. I know a lot of you have stories. When we were kids and we were sports fans, it was magical, and sports is still magical. Watching the World Series last night, especially if you were a Braves fan. was nothing short of amazing. But as a kid, as you know, when I was a kid, Dale Murphy was the deal. Just, Blake, he's talked about Chipper Jones. And we've been very fortunate to be in the Sun Belt and have some iconic players over the years. I mean, you could go back to Hammer and Hank. But for me, it was Dale Murphy. And, I was a sports nerd. I loved it. I loved all three sports. I loved it a lot. And I was fortunate to go to Braves games as a kid and the Final Four as a kid and the Super Bowl. And that's the reason why I do what I do today. Final Four totally changed my life, and I'll get into that probably a little bit later because we're going to do a little back and forth today celebrating the Atlanta Braves World Series championship. But as a kid, my parents took me to Fulton County Stadium. And as a kid from Mississippi who grew up in Belhaven, that was a big deal. And as I have said the last few weeks, as Blake and I have shared fun stories, having Dale Murphy on the show, we've had Pete Lavin on the show, general manager of the M Braves. We've had Drew Waters, the number 4 prospect in the Atlanta Braves organization. We just had Jake Mangum with the New York Mets in studio. We've had Hunter Renfroe in studio. I mean, Roy Oswalt, Houston Astros Hall of Fame. I mean, we've done a lot of baseball the last few years. And as a kid, to go to Fulton County Stadium, wear my baseball uniform. I made All-Stars that year. I know, they must not have had anybody else to pick. I wore sweatbands, and I took my glove to the stadium. So I totally nerded out. And I can remember walking in because Claudell Washington hit his 100th home run. Many of you don't know who he is, but at that time he was the starting center fielder for the Atlanta Braves. And Claudell Washington and Dale Murphy and Bob Horner and Chris Chambliss and Bruce Benedict and Bedrock and all these guys were, on the Atlanta Braves team, and Dale Murphy was a 2-time NL MVP during that time. And it was cool if you were lucky enough. I mean, Roy Oswalt talked about how, hey, I didn't have cable in Ware, Mississippi. I never watched a Major League Baseball game. And that was part of rural America, and that's what makes part of it so cool when people make it and do something and start to travel. But we lived in Belhaven, and we had WGN and TBS in the early 80s, and so you got to catch all the games. And like Blake and others, I was a baseball card nerd. I could ride my bike. I didn't walk. I ride my bike down to Jitney Jungle, Jitney 14, where the corner market is now on Fortification, and get baseball cards whenever I wanted. Most kids didn't have access to that. That's pretty cool. And we would trade them. The first sign of transactions and trading something that you thought was of value for something else. And so, as Blake and I were talking this morning, it's just so cool to see the Braves win it and all the ties. And who knew that in 2005 we were going to build a beautiful baseball park and would land the AA affiliate Atlanta Braves. And who knew, Blake, that I would meet Brian Snitker, the manager of the Atlanta Braves, but that year in 2005, the manager of the Mississippi Braves at the Hilton Jackson before the Braves had even officially moved to Jackson.
Honestly hilarious. It's one of those things like sports is a small world, just the world is a small world type things where you get to spend time with a guy who was up and down in the organization for 30-something years, and now just 15 years later, he's a World Series champion.
Man, he's a world. And what'd you tell me? He's a 50-year lifer?
I think he's in the 40s with the Braves.
Got it.
And then Ron Washington, their third base coach, is a 50-year guy in Major League Baseball, not all with Atlanta, but just got his first World Series championship as well.
And Snitker has been with the Braves for a long time.
I think his whole career.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Just too cool. Too cool. Ozzie Albies, my favorite player. Incredible. Scored a couple of runs last night. And, it's pretty awesome when your general manager's name is Alex Anthopoulos. Boy, he made some great moves at the break, Blake. We're live from USA Pawn's mega store, celebrating 30 years in business. Back with the big board coming up next. The Out of Bounds Show podcast is presented by Edwin Watts Golf Shop on County Line Road. Your golf game starts with Edwin Watts Golf Shop.
The big board. What's on the big board?
That's high. Let's bring that way down. Thank you. The Out of Bounds Show. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's bring it down. ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. And we are live from the USA Pawn mega stores. They celebrate Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 30 years in business. 6 locations, usapawn.com. 10% off starts tomorrow. 10% off starts tomorrow. All locations, all 6 locations, 10% off in the stores. We've got a giveaway today. We'll tell you more about it in the SEC Insider Hit at 7:30. And it is an official New York Giants football with Eli Manning's signature autograph. That's pretty awesome. Compliments of USA Pawn. I'm looking at about 100 TVs. They sell thousands and thousands of smart TVs every year. Game systems, all kinds of PS4 stuff going on. PS5, excuse me. Louis Vuitton. Computers for days. You name it. Laptops, desktop. All kinds of cool stuff here at the Mega Store, I-55 South McDowell Road. 6 locations celebrating 30 years. And shout out to Nick Fulton and Brian Smith and the team for hosting us once again. This is our 3rd time to be here at the Mega Store. We've also broadcast from Pearl. So very cool. 10% off all locations Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Blake and Will are live in the BankPlus Studio. I'm your host, Bo Bounds, the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. I thought the Jake Mangum interview yesterday was unbelievable. That was a lot of fun. We'll talk more about that. It did very, very well on the podcast. We took a deep dive into kind of him growing up. He did not dominate at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. It's a great story of how his career kind of unfolded and how he became an icon and a legend when it comes to SEC baseball and Hale State baseball. And he's a big piece of that puzzle on that national championship this past summer because over his 4 years, Blake, he was a part of 4 Super Regionals and 2 College World Series appearances. And, of course, he's the SEC Hit King. It was a great story. If you miss any of our show, we would love for you to go to Apple Podcast and search the Out of Bounds Show. Apple Podcast, search the Out of Bounds Show. We really appreciate it. And we would love for you to hit subscribe. Congratulations to the Atlanta Braves winning the World Series. And my favorite player, Ozzie Albies, he was fantastic, among others. And Blake was commenting on the trade with Soler, Peterson, Rosario, and Duvall, and how Alex Anthopoulos, the general manager of the Atlanta Braves, young guy, very, very young guy, really young, how he pulled off a great trade. And let me throw a couple of things out at you here. We know it was an improbable championship and an improbable run. So Acuna suffered his season-ending injury July 10th. The Braves won that day that Acuna got hurt. The Braves were 44-44 that day when Ronald Acuna got hurt. The Atlanta Braves postseason odds the day that Ronald Acuna got hurt was 8.7%.
It's incredible.
The 2021 Braves joined the 1964 Cardinals as the only teams ever to win a World Series after being under 500 at the All-Star break. Congratulations to the 2021 Atlanta Braves organization for winning the World Series over the Houston Astros. Absolutely incredible. And, of course, we have some, we've got a lot of Mississippi flavor. I mean, Blake's called some of these guys as the play-by-play voice of the M-Braves, AA affiliate. But it's cool that Austin Riley is on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of these guys, whether it was brief or a full season or so, made stops right here in Jackson, Mississippi for the M-Braves and the Mississippi Braves. And the Braves win 7-0 over the Houston Astros. And Blake threw out a number earlier. The Braves hit 11 bombs to the Astros, too?
That's
Blake?
correct. It is tied for the biggest home run differential in World Series history. You have to go back to like 1956 New York Yankees and Dodgers to find a bigger or the similar home run differential.
Wow.
Yeah, they dominated.
That's cool.
They dominated.
And we'll play some audio, Blake, on the other side. We'll drop some audio.
Absolutely.
But you mentioned earlier, how cool is it for Freddie Freeman, man?
Oh, he's a lifer. It's like if you had gotten to see, Barry Sanders win one for Detroit, or someone like Phillip Rivers finally get one with the Chargers before he had that's the
Dan Marino with the Dolphins.
Somebody who had been there forever and someone who had gone through. Freeman could have. I liken it a lot to like Megatron or Matthew Stafford, maybe, although Stafford left finally at the end. But in a place where there were some years where it would have made sense if Freddie Freeman had demanded out. Young superstar, had plenty of time on his wheels, so to speak. Like could have gotten out of a pretty bad rebuilding situation in Atlanta for a few years.
Yes.
And then instead he doesn't. He sticks it out. He stays true to the team that drafted him, and lo and behold. 15 years into his career, he gets to the World Series.
That's so awesome. That's so cool. Freddie Freeman, Austin Riley.
How about
my favorite? Go ahead.
Well, I was saying, how about Max Fried last night in a Game 6? A left-hander who had been shook up the last couple times he had been out there, goes out there and just dominates for 6 innings.
Well, you mentioned him last week, and he had 6 Ks. No runs, obviously no earned runs, no walks, Blake. That was a great performance, man.
Oh, it was fantastic. And I can remember him pitching opening day in Mississippi and how much expectation there was and pressure on him to be the one of the next guys. And to see him now, 5 years later, realize that in the World Series is pretty cool.
Yes. Watching Dale Murphy tweet, Chipper Jones, Greg Maddux, among other legends, just makes me happy. And I've hit 2 of the ballparks over there. Not the one that they're currently in, but I took my kids to a Braves game a few years ago, and somebody put us up in that Hank Aaron club level, which was ballin'. And I'd been to the park a few years before. That's where I interviewed Rafael Palmeiro. The Orioles were playing the Braves in a cross, AL-NL deal. And I got to spend, about, 3 hours or so at the ballpark early in the day to kind of see what they do hours and hours before the game. It was really cool. And, of course, to interview Rafi while he was with the Orioles. The Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We're live from USA Pawn's Mega Store, celebrating 30 years in business. 10% off all locations tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. Welcome in. Good morning. Congratulations to the Atlanta Braves.
The Out of Bounds Show podcast is presented by the Premium Cigars at Havana Smoke Shop. Visit their 2 locations, I-55 in Jackson and on the Res, for your premium cigar needs. Only at Havana Smoke Shop.
All right, Will tells me we're back. We are live from USA Pawn's Mega Store, celebrating 30 years in business. Mississippi entrepreneurs, 6 locations, 30 years in business. That's impressive. I-55 South McDowell Road. I'm sitting here around 100 smart TVs and computers and all kinds of game systems and so on. Starting tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, 10% off all locations. They're going to have all kinds of giveaways, specials, promotions, celebrating 30 years in business. USAPawn.com, USA Pawn's mega store. Huge giveaways, including a new PS5, Louis Vuitton purse, and a raffle going on to win either a brand new AR-15 or Glock pistol, among other things. 10% off the entire store Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and 10% down on anything for layaway just in time for Christmas. USA Pawn's mega store. But don't forget, they have 6 locations. Blake Scott is with me. Will is flying the plane, so to speak. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. Want to say good morning. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for making us your sports and entertainment show of choice in the great state of Mississippi. We appreciate you listening to the show live. You know, it's driven by, who knows, spontaneous. We don't know what could happen next. And we appreciate you hitting the podcast. Apple Podcast, search the Out of Bounds Show. Apple Podcast, search the Out of Bounds Show. If you missed the Jake Mangum interview, the Tom Luganbill interview, the Mike Detillier interview, bam, it's right there for you. Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcast, search the Out of Bounds Show. Would love for you to hit subscribe. That'd be great for us. Thanks for listening to 105.9 The Zone ESPN. No MRA football this Friday. They get a bye for the playoffs. They'll be back next Friday. Madison Roseland Academy football, they're the number 1 seed, MAIS. Hartfield, number 2. JA Prep, Park Lane, and PCS all in the playoffs, too. And no MRA football this Friday, but they will be back at home next Friday. So on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. John White, Stone Blanton, Davis Dalton, Street Toller, among others, leading the way. And so we'll see. We'll see how this thing all shakes out. Is it MRA? Is it Hartfield? Is it Prep? Is it JA? We'll just see. And MHSAA obviously marches along, getting really, really close to playoff time, too, which is going to be exciting. I mean, it's one and done, baby. I mean, you practice, it's January 4th or 5th, all the weight room sessions, all the conditioning, the heat in June and July and August, the injuries, you know, where you're nicked up here and there. Here it is. Here it is. Now it's just survive in advance and try to, to win it all at Mississippi College or win it all at Veterans Memorial Stadium. And so it's exciting for a bunch of 15, 16, and 17-year-olds. Really, and I guess 18. Very, very cool. MRA football not on Friday, but we will have Mississippi State football this Saturday on 105.9 The Zone ESPN. So if you're out and about, you got softball, soccer tournaments, whatever, we're going to keep you locked in, always. Pregame starts at 1, but the game starts at 3 as Mississippi State travels to Fayetteville, Arkansas, to play the Razorbacks, and that's a 3 o'clock game, and you can listen on 105.9 The Zone, WRKS ESPN. We are streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app and thezone1059.com. And the SEC Insider Hit this morning. Let's get into some college football playoff rankings. SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by the Purple Mattress at Muskelly Sleep Store. We've been sleeping on one for 4 months. It is amazing. Absolutely amazing. The purple mattress. It's got the purple grid. They've never had anything like this in the mattress industry. The Purple Mattress from Muskelly Sleep Store, or any of their locations, American made. It reduces pressure, instantly adapts, and doesn't trap heat. The Purple Mattress at Muskelly Sleep Store. Blake Mania with me. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. So let's get into it. No surprise at number one last night with the college football playoff rankings. This is Kirby's time. The Georgia Bulldogs are number one. All right? I mean, this is the time to go get the national title. You're the number 2 composite recruiter in the country. You could argue that they have more talent than Bama this year. Just more, slightly. You could argue either way, but slightly more high in talent, right? They've got big-time talent at all 3 levels on defense, the front, the middle, and the back. They've got more than enough on offense, although I will be interested to see what Kirby Smart with Georgia decides to do at quarterback. You have a walk-on in Stetson Bennett IV, who has been playing since J.T. Daniels got hurt. And they're both solid, which I wish, hey, I mean, that's a compliment. Please understand. I wish I could have been below average SEC player. But they're not special, and they're not going to, I mean, you know, they're way, way, way from Matt Corral, but that's not fair comparison. Let's go with, I mean, Will Rogers is obviously better than either player, but Bo Nix is playing good football. They're just kind of in that, if you're scale of 1 to 10, they're probably a 5.5 to a 6, but they've got the offensive line, the running backs, the wide receivers, and their defense is so nasty. I don't know if anybody can run the ball on them, to be honest. I don't. But I will say this about Alabama. If Alabama makes it to the SEC championship game, I do think that we'll get a really good game. And I think Bama can – it'll be very difficult, okay? But I think Bama can throw it on them some. They seem to be they're getting better every week with some new guys. I'm not feeling sorry for Bama by any stretch, right? I don't want you to eye roll as an Ole Miss or Mississippi State or Arkansas fan or whatever. But as they do have a new QB and some new names and faces at wide receiver, and they don't necessarily have a Calvin Ridley or a Devontae Smith. There could be one of these guys emerge as one. But I think we could get a great game with Alabama and Georgia. But Georgia's number 1 in the college football playoff rankings. Alabama's number 2. I'm great with that. I don't care that they lost. They lost to A&M on the road. I get it. But we're in the SEC. It's not close as far as top 10 recruiters, top 20 recruiters, and top 30 recruiters. No other league has anything close. And then the gap between the SEC West and everybody else, as y'all know, is like me trying to play Steph Curry 101. All right? So, Bama's 2, Michigan State's 3. I'm not sold that Michigan State's that good. Okay? We see this a lot. Iowa was there a few weeks ago, but they've done what they were supposed to do. They beat everybody on their schedule, and they're 8-0. I know you're not interested in Michigan State because, for the most part, they play boring football, and the Big Ten's not really interesting. But that's where they are at number 3. So let me go Georgia, Bama, Michigan State. 4 is Oregon because they beat Ohio State. 5 is Ohio State. Oregon traveled to Ohio State week 1. I think if they played today, Ohio State wins. I don't care if they played in Moscow, Columbus, Ohio, which I've been to, very cool town, by the way, or Eugene, Oregon, which is where the Ducks are. 5 is Cincinnati. They have no business being in the top 10, but this is the dog and pony show that we've done in the world of collegiate athletics for decades. We need a G5 playoff. You know it. I know it. And I won't get too bogged down with that. Michigan is 7. Michigan's not the 7th team in the country. Oklahoma, who has struggled throughout the year, is 8. Wake Forest, which is a great story that Mississippi State and Ole Miss would probably beat 8 out of 10 times, is number 9, and Notre Dame is 10. Let me get to the Mississippi stuff. Ole Miss is 16th. Mississippi State is 17th. A lot of people were like, how is MSU 17th? Well, they have 3 top 25 wins. Nobody else has that. I mean, A&M's 14th. Mississippi State beat them. Kentucky's 18th. MSU beat them. North Carolina State's 19th. MSU beat them. Nobody else on here has that kind of, is it a team that's a total work in progress and that can look good on one Saturday and terrible on another? Absolutely. But they beat 3 quality teams, especially in a year, Blake, right now where it's, weird. It's a weird college football year. I'm trying to put my finger on it. Don't really know if it's a combination of the pandemic and all these players shuffling around, so you don't have the continuity and the chemistry as you once did on, football rosters and so on. And maybe also, Blake and I discussed this off the air, maybe we don't have a little bit more of and I'm okay with not having a normal season. This looks kind of weird and wild, and I hope it gets real murky and funky all the way down. But maybe it's a combination of the pandemic, the transfer portal, players running around transferring like crazy, and the assistant coaching shuffle. Nobody stays anywhere for even 4 or 5 years. Whereas 1996, 1985, 1974, men would stay. I'm okay with mobility for sure in business and every industry, but I'm just saying these guys are rolling through jobs, staying for maybe a year or two, and then boom, they're gone. So maybe it's a little bit of you don't have your offensive line coach for even 4 or 5 years, much less 2 years. So I don't know. Blake, anything jump out? So again, Georgia 1, Bama 2.
Yeah, I think
the next SEC team. I don't agree with this, by the way. Okay, Georgia 1, Bama 2, and then the next SEC team that's ranked is Auburn at 13. And A&M at 14. We both know that Auburn and A&M, with the way college football is made up this year, are both top 10 teams. But you got to do this whole dog and pony show. Blake?
Well, I have a couple thoughts. One, I think the surprise for most people is Alabama at 2, maybe ahead of either like a Michigan State who's undefeated or Oregon who's 7-1 but has the win at Ohio State. I think that's interesting. I understand why they did it, but it's interesting. Yeah. There's 5 undefeated teams in the top 10, but only 2 in the top 4, which I find interesting as well. Cincinnati undefeated, Oklahoma undefeated, Wake Forest undefeated, all in the back half of the top 10, which is somewhat interesting. And then it begs the question to me, are they setting this up so that Georgia, Alabama at 1 and 2 both have a higher likelihood to get in? Because obviously Georgia, if Georgia were to go 12-0 and lose only to Alabama, how does that set up for Georgia staying in the top 4? That's pretty interesting, given that they're up there. The other thing that's interesting to me is you look at this top 10 and you see SEC, Big 10, Pac-12, Big 10, Cincinnati, Big 10, Big 12, and then finally at number 9, the ACC. What does it say about the ACC that their only hope in making the playoff is Wake Forest at 8-0? And then, you keep going down that list. The next ACC team is number 19, NC State.
Okay, I like where you went right there. All right, so we'll take a quick dive into that, get back into some SEC. The Out of Bounds show, ESPN 1059 The Zone. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. Want to say good morning, welcome in. Yes, we will get into the Atlanta Braves. We started the show with that, but we want to kind of dip our toe here into the college football playoff rankings. And our college football playoff rankings discussion today is brought to you by the Purple Mattress at Muskelly Sleep Store. It's made in America. Love it. It's a mattress that reduces pressure. It's got the Purple Grid technology. I've been sleeping on one for 4 months. Amazing. Instantly adapts and doesn't trap heat. The Purple Mattress at Muskelly Sleep Store or any of the Muskelly locations. Blake, the ACC's awful. It's a terrible league this year. And you point out that Wake Forest is the first team ranked, and they're ranked at number 9. And Wake Forest is more of a basketball school with Tim Duncan than it is, football, well, academics and Tim Duncan than anything else. Pretty area. I've been on the campus, but super small. I can remember their stadium looked like it was nice, but it was super small. It looked like Millsaps, okay?
Yeah.
And so it is remarkable that Dave Clawson, for our listeners, that if y'all like to nerd out on coaching searches, which we do, I don't know if and when he'll leave. He's been winning for a while. I don't understand why he hasn't been picked up by like South Carolina or Tennessee when they had openings or some others. But anyway, Dave Clawson's been there for a while, and he's 8-0. It's a great story. Auburn and A&M are much better than 13 and 14. But here's the problem. One of them's going to take another loss this weekend.
Yep.
Because the game of the week this weekend, Mississippi State obviously has a huge game at Arkansas. But the game of the week, 2:30 CBS, is Auburn at A&M this weekend. And that is going to be a physical, smash mouth, get after it in the line of scrimmage football game. And I don't know whether it's Calzado with A&M, their quarterback, or Bo Nix with Auburn, but I cannot wait to see this game. Now, I'll have 2 screens going because I have to watch Mississippi State and Arkansas. Now, Ole Miss has the Tito's Vodka Bloody Mary game. That's 11 a.m. against Liberty, and I can't believe that Hugh Freeze is coming back to Oxford as the coach of the Liberty. Is it the Owls?
No, they're the Flames.
Same thing. All right, so the Liberty Flames are coming into town to Oxford. And I wonder if Hugh will stay at the hotel or at the house he still has in Oxford. Anyway, bottom line is Hugh Freeze, one of the most popular coaches in the history of Ole Miss, who won big and then went through a bad, I guess, scandal / debauch, whatever. So talented and, went through some things. He's coming back to face the Lane Train and Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. That's an 11 a.m. kickoff for the Ole Miss Rebels. Mississippi State, 3 o'clock, and they play in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And then the game of the week is Auburn at A&M. And no, we're not really talking about LSU and Alabama because,
It's still crazy that this is the first time LSU-Bama hasn't been CBS Game of the Week since 2006.
It really is.
That's an incredible run.
That's an unbelievable run, for sure. So those are the big games this week. I don't know if Ole Miss's game is a big game, but the fact that Hugh Freeze is the head coach at Liberty makes it all kinds of yummy storylines. He's such an unbelievable offensive coach and motivator. And people love playing for him. They do. And we continue to ask the question, what is the next stop for Hugh Freeze? All he's done is win at Liberty. That's what he's done everywhere. Memphis High School, Arkansas State. I think he went through Lambeth for a year. Ole Miss he won, and won big. Sugar Bowl 2015, beat Alabama 14-15. right? You've heard it a million times. I mean, that is his claim to fame. He beat Nick Saban in Oxford, 2014. Bo Wallace leading the way. 2015 in Bryant-Denny, Chad Kelly, the QB. They beat Saban in 2015. And he had the West won in 2015.
4th and 25.
Against Arkansas. I mean, the guy can coach. He can motivate. He can draw it up. He can scheme it up. And he's one heck of a play caller. And he loves to recruit, and he can relate to people, and he's great on the couch, and blah, blah, blah. But he's with Liberty. He's making $2 million or so a year.
And he runs the entire program.
And he's the guy.
Let me give you these lists, and you tell me right off the top of your head where he fits the best. Okay, here's the 5 top jobs that we know are open: Washington State, Texas Tech, TCU, LSU, Southern Cal.
Texas Tech.
That's what I think too.
I think Hugh Freeze. Look, Mike Leach can win anywhere. He's an exceptional football coach. Hugh Freeze could win at Texas Tech, which takes me to another topic. Out of Bounds, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We're live from USA Pawn's mega store, celebrating 30 years in business. 30 years in business. Let's go ahead, before I jump into this. We want you to text the Ag Up Equipment text line. That's how you enter, and you could win a New York Giants Eli Manning signed football, compliments of USA Pawn. The text line is 601-885-3776. You can text us Eli's biggest moment. I think we'll know what some of those are. 2-time Lombardi Trophy winner. Obviously, some of the plays against the Patriots. Wow. But there were some other amazing plays. It could be an Ole Miss play. Because we're talking championships today, and the Atlanta Braves are the 2021 World Series champions, and that's a tie to Mississippi with the M Braves as the AA affiliate. We're giving away this football. Tell us, your favorite championship moment or your favorite moment for Eli Manning, and that's how you enter via the text line, and we will pick a winner after the show. The text line number is 601-885-3776. You have till 10 a.m. to get in, and that is compliments of USA Pawn. An autographed football by Eli Manning, New York Giants. It's in this cool case right here beside me, and it looks great. It'll look good in your game room, in your pool house, I guess in your office, or your game day condo. So Ag Up Equipment text line is 601-885-3776. Get in, enter, and you could win a New York Giants Eli Manning signed football, compliments of USA Pawn as they celebrate 30 years in business. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 10% off. Everything in the store, all 6 locations. USA Pawn, usapawn.com. Plus, they've got some huge giveaways on their website. A new PS5 and a Louis Vuitton purse. You can go to win.usapawn.com. That's win.usapawn.com. Big 30-year anniversary sale. All USA Pawn locations, all 6, starting tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Straight ahead, we'll get into Will Rogers and Mike Leach and how this offense is turning the corner. Plus, the Atlanta Braves, 2021 World Series champions. Got a good show lined up for you today. Good morning. Welcome in. Hang with us.